If we can get one person on a tour here to stop eating meat or dairy, that saves thousands of animals over their lives. And so that's the real mission. And so that's why we're here, is to spread the message, obviously, of course, of veganism, to help people look into these animals' eyes and realize what we all realize, that somebody's home. They're individuals. They have capacity to feel pain, to have friends, a whole range of emotions. And so that's really what this place is about. One of our dreams for this place is to also have it be a refuge for those who are in the animal rights movement, because it can be overwhelming, and there are so many days where it feels like the biggest uphill battle ever, and somebody yells, "Yeah, but bacon," or you have a good family member that knows better but chooses not to do better, and it just becomes stressful and overwhelming. And if you're having one of those days, just come and go read to some of our chickens, just hang out under a tree and be with Toby. Our place is your place.
What do you think, Judy?
All right, let's go install the fence. Judy's ready. Somebody didn't want to ride. Kaiser! Let's see if all that working out pays off. Shout out to Kent and Darlene one more time for helping us with this awesome logo.
Should we just set it down over here?
Yeah, I'm gonna film you and not help. Here we go. This is F45, Orange Theory, Core Power, in action.
Yoga pod.
Yoga Pod, Solid Core. What other gyms do you belong to?
I don't belong to Solid Core.
Equinox, Lifetime, Golds, Curves. She does hit up a Curves once or twice a week. It turned out awesome. Just bigger and bolder than we thought, sort of the perfect size. We have to dig 2 huge holes and then mount it, but we need to figure out exactly where to put it first. Installation for the sign was almost as much as the sign in terms of cost, so we decided to do it ourselves. That could be a huge mistake, and we might find out why installation was so expensive, but I think it's pretty simple. Just a post hole digger. You can see most of our, after we get past the topsoil, it's basically just all sand because we're in Florida. So I think once we get these to about 3.5, 4 feet, we'll have, so if those are 8 foot, 4 feet in the ground, or I'm bad at math. How much should be in the ground?
Did they say 4 feet?
Well, then only 4 feet would be above.
How much needs to be above?
So maybe only 2 feet in the ground, then 2 feet in between, and then 4 feet high. So maybe I've already gone too deep. Let's just test one out and see where we're at.
Wow.
So yeah, I probably already went too deep. Is that at the top?
What?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think that looks like a good height.
Me too.
Yeah. That looks awesome.
Proud of you. Our helpers.
So this is something cool called poor man's pepper. It's like a mustard.
Is that cool?
But
Super
it's like
cool.
you commonly find it in fields and stuff when it overgrows.
Poor man's pepper, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful morning at Peacefield, and today is our our first actual event here. We're pretty pumped. We're having a local animal rights group called Anonymous for the Voiceless come and do a meet and greet and sort of vegan potluck. So we're cleaning up and just mowed, so everything should be looking sharp. We've got a few things left to do, but we couldn't be more excited for them to get here. And Judy's excited. I know. And it looks like we have nice weather, which is awesome because it's all outside. We've got a few things left to clean up in the shop, but we're really excited. We're gonna have some Beyond burgers and brats today. And so we got this grill, we're gonna put that together and a few other things. Emma's gonna go feed Toby and the chickens, and then we'll get going. We feel semi-official. We got the little gazebo set up with our sign and some of the t-shirts, some of the merch. I ended up getting the grill put together, and we got a little crock pot there, so we'll be doing Beyond burgers and sausages. We'll also use this area when we do tours, just kind of welcome, get everybody signed in. People are just starting to arrive and we're super excited. To finally, like after years of dreaming about this, to have some animals and to be somewhat open and to now have our first event is amazing. And you guys, even before we got here, just the feedback on our logo and our announcement that we're coming to Gainesville, you've all been so kind and helpful. And so thank you for being so welcoming.
Thanks for coming.
And
yeah.
And we're from Minnesota, and in Minnesota they have, they call it Minnesota nice, but I feel like it's the exact same down here, if not more, that Southern hospitality. About 3 years ago, we initially went vegan for our health. We read a book called How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and just started experimenting with it as runners and athletes. All of a sudden we realized oh my gosh, our recovery time has disappeared, and we started feeling better, sleeping better, all this stuff. And then as lifelong animal lovers, all of a sudden that dichotomy was gone of eating animals 3 times a day, and we were able to actually really tune into that nature of being animal lovers and realizing that somebody who would stop traffic to move a turtle off the road on their way to lunch to eat a chicken doesn't make any sense.
So I'm Dawn, and AV was actually my first form of veganism or activism as well. I've been vegan for 13 years, but what made me jump into activism was AV, because I really resonated with their message and their methods. And now I'm so honored and so excited to be able to lead this chapter.
Being the voice of the animals is a great responsibility, and it's a great opportunity. And really, the strength of the Cube of Truth is through the people who show up and volunteer for it. So thank you all for being part of it. You are the movement. And Gainesville is a fantastic place to do this, where there's a lot of progress that we can make there. There's a lot of people who are open to the message that aren't vegan yet, and Gainesville is going to be one of the cities that's on the leading edge of the entire nation going vegan. So we're here, we're at where it's starting right now.
Like the difference between a cow.
So I just started writing.
What's the verdict?
I was at my heaviest 232 pounds. I dropped down to, right now I fluctuate between 183, 186, depending on what I eat, how active I am. My total cholesterol was 197. Now it's down to 123. My bad LDL cholesterol in the first 4 months, 3 to 4 months of going plant-based, dropped 61 points. So my bad LDL cholesterol went down significantly. I had a friend that I worked with who tried to, steer me towards that path. And I kind of, fought with him. I was resistant. I went through a rebellious phase, which a lot of us, will do when we're presented to look at ourselves or question our own morals or beliefs. But it took getting some real news from my doctor telling me where I was going to end up if I kept eating the way I did, if I was going to continue to gain weight. I was on the road to cholesterol medicine, blood pressure medicine, and possibly diabetes. And I have a father, both of my parents are actually in those state of health right now. So it's not too hard to, figure out, okay, if I don't make a change, I'm on the fast track to being where they're going to be. And at 31 years old, I just, I was like, cholesterol medicine at 31 just sounded crazy to me. So I reached back out to my friend, my vegan mentor, and asked, well, he became my vegan mentor later on down the road, but asked him for help and how to get started. And we went to restaurants. He took me to grocery stores and showed me being vegan can be as cheap as you want it to be, or it can be as expensive as you want it to be. But he said it's fun, it's simple, it's easy, and it's something that everybody could do. So he started small just to prove to me that we do have these options and resources available to us. And I used to be a very politically active person. I had adopted a right-wing political ideology. I looked at the majority of vegans as, liberals, as hippies, as things of that nature, which contradicted because I'm originally born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, and a lot of people in my family, there's a conservative background in there, and anybody can be capable of change, but sometimes when we adopt it could be a religious belief, it could be an ideology, political. There are certain types of mindsets that people can adopt and incorporate in themselves that close their world and narrow their field of view. Those were some of the things I had to overcome and deal with. Of course, now I'm an independent person. I don't do politics or religion. I just want to spend my time here, my one fulfilled life here on earth, not fighting with people. I want to just enjoy life because there's so many things that we can do to waste our time on, and anything that involves the division of people is just something that I don't want to participate in, because I'm getting older, everybody's getting older. You can't get your time back. So I grew up with the idea that violence is normal, that it's a part of life, that it's not avoidable, and that if people can't take a belt to a child or have it in them to kill an animal, then they're weak. They're not going to make it in this world. And what we need to do is we need to reverse that thought process, that we need to stop normalizing and culturing violence, thinking that it's something we need to live with. I believe in self-defense, yes, but what I ultimately found out when I really started to question my beliefs, and I had lots of people along the way. It's taken 3 to 4 years to break out of this, what I call programming, because you grow up your entire life being raised a certain way, to think a certain way, and to become a person who your parents and your environment want you to become. It takes time because you're fighting against years and years of programming and conditioning. Violence against innocent, living, sentient beings is some of the most cowardly things you can do, and I don't believe in beating children or whipping them with a belt. And that's how I was raised, but I think for me it's best that the cycle stops with me so that we can bring a more compassionate, more productive generation into existence, because if we don't stop the cycle with me, then we're not going to see the kind of change we want to see. We're just bringing more of what we don't want to see. So veganism is basically where you stop taking what never belonged to you to begin with. Veganism is where we stop the whole concept of speciesism, where we place value on one life over another. Just because we can do something doesn't mean it's right. Everything starts small. The things that we do to animals, it becomes conditioned in us. The violence, the exploitation, basically, if it goes on long enough, it becomes culture, it becomes tradition, it gets normalized. The things that we do to animals desensitizes us to the point where eventually it transitions over to people. Veganism is an ethical philosophy. It's about animal rights. It's about fighting against injustice. The animals don't have a voice, so we as a human species, we are their voice. We basically try to get people to make the connection that they have the right to life, and they have a right to be here just as much as we do, that they are living sentient beings that feel pain and emotions just like we do. So veganism is just taking it a step further. It's basically where we stop taking what was never ours to begin with. We do our very best we can to help people align their actions with their morals. And everything that we do is for the people we talk to. It's not for me. I'm not getting paid to do this. So it's not really so much about me giving something up. It's about I replaced certain things. I stopped taking over here and I found better replacements that have, been a lot more beneficial to me. There are people that will do a plant-based diet or plant-based lifestyle, I should say. And that's more for like kind of personal reasons, health reasons, and some people that's as far as they want to take it. But my mentor told me a long time ago that at some point if you don't transition to an ethical vegan, that you're not as likely to stay successful on a plant-based diet alone. It's the morals and the ethics. Like you see where the animals come from, how they're treated, and what they go through when you buy a hamburger, a steak, chicken wings. And when you see stuff like that, it's like, well, I don't want to support that because I don't agree with that, and I refuse to be a part of that. So the morals and the ethics is what helps a person, stay vegan for life.